I'm just, I'm on Moana right now. I think of them just again leaving like this.
I'm naturally doing this.
Yeah. Welcome to the Three Fates podcast. I'm Deanne.
I'm Pam.
And I'm Meredith.
Birth.
Life.
And death.
For those that are maybe just joining us now, as you know, like finding a new podcast to listen to, we are just holding archetypes for birth, life, death, the continuum. That's really what it is. We don't control anybody's fates or anything of that, but we enjoy holding the archetypes of how to birth ourselves in anything new, to live through those, and to know when a cycle is ended and to move on to the next. So that's kind of a brief overview of us and our name and us as space holders. And today, like every time that we come into an episode, we start with a little bit of a channel. All three of us go in and we connect, and that's what we're going to do again, and just see what comes up for in our agenda today and what the episode's going to represent. So ladies, shall we?
Yeah, 3 breaths to begin.
Okay.
You can breathe with us if you're listening, just in through the nose and out through the mouth. And again. And one last one. Beautiful. So each episode we just live channel is to the energies. We feel into the energies and ask what it is, how we can be of service in holding these archetypes to help and service the many, not limited to humans. And that's kind of how we pick our topic. So I'm going to need you guys to take this.
The topic was quite clear before we actually started recording. I mean, it's not a topic. It's just more it's a happening. Mm-hmm. It's what's happening.
It's already cultivating.
There's like usually something, a theme we might talk about, or sometimes we're just surrendering into what's happening in the field. And before we hit record, it was like a really deep knowing that there is going to be like more a channeling, shape-shifting type of energy coming through. Meredith is already embodying something that's of something else other than just sovereign Meredith. So that she's already moving into her shape-shifting energy, if you can notice. And it's interesting because since she's been transitioning into this shapeshift, I feel completely interesting as well. Like I feel very like I'm in the control right now to kind of bring Pam out, but there is an energy coming through me also that is quite interesting. So I'm curious because this is a bit of an unknown. Mm-hmm. We just now get to play and see what wants to be shared, what wants to come through, and we're all along the journey with you.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to just talk about what shapeshifting is for a second?
Did you say me? Yeah. I was like, did she say me? Because I was going to ask if Pam wanted to talk about shapeshifting.
Both.
I'm new to shapeshifting, but in actuality, I think we all do it in a small way. We just sometimes don't recognize that we're doing it, or when we are channeling, we are pulling in an energy, an archetype. But I would say that some pull it in even more. It's not like Meredith is completely gone when this is happening. Like she's still here in the flesh, but it's almost like she starts to look and appear differently to me than usually how Meredith appears to me. So I would say it's about the embodiment of an energy or an archetype coming in. Meredith isn't gone. Like some channeling, when you do that, it completely takes over the body and that person is not in there anymore. They actually don't even probably remember their channel. I always think Meredith remembers her channels and I see her, but it's almost like the physical appearance of Meredith starts to look a little bit different.
There's always consent. I'm not taking over. And there's always the idea of like consent that these energies that I'm allowing this energy to come through and work through me as part of my agreement to service. And so it's not like I don't have control or consent in it, but it's that learning that intuitive yes versus intuitive no. There's energies that I will absolutely say no to. And then some that, like in this case, where I'm like, you kind of have a choice, or you don't fully have a choice. So I'm already starting to embody the energy of what it means to be a shapeshifter. I do have a shape-shifting lineage in my gifts. And what that feels like is I'm here, but there's an overlay of an energy over me. And I can sometimes, I know that my face has changed, or that people who are energetically aware will be able to see something different on me.
It's interesting because I go through channeling, but not shape shifting, but I'm really feeling that energy on me right now for the first time. And I'm curious about that. And what I'm hearing from whatever this energy is kind of behind me, like asking for consent, is also saying how much energy it takes to come into a body for these energies. Like that it creates this, it's a lot of effort actually to densify enough to then come into a physical vessel than to be held. So I'm just kind of honoring and noting that there is effort from both sides. And I'm just curious of what's going to happen, because I do feel like I'm going to say okay for whatever this energy is coming through.
I feel like I'm the observer. So I don't feel that there is an energy that is asking to get my attention in any way. I think I'm here to actually just hold the fucking podcast space while my girls are doing their thing, and observe and support, and just, maybe if I can offer any translation, is to do that. Meredith, what are you feeling?
So I'm just feeling, I usually notice like my face. So my face feels old. I feel like I have jowls and like a very, very, very older energy in terms of like an old, sometimes they come through to look old so that they say this is how you listen to wisdom. And so it's just kind of that overlay right now.
Does it feel like it's a one entity, or does it feel like it's a combination or a collective?
I mean, I wouldn't call it an entity.
No, but entity I sometimes mean as just an external force.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification.
No negativity. Everything is just an external force with that term.
It's a collective.
Is it human?
No.
Does it feel animalistic? Does it feel galactic?
It feels more galactic. So it's this actually idea of like galactic, but they're asking me to bring attention to that which is under the ground. So we still don't know what's at the center of the earth. We still don't know the energies there. But when I go into this kind of more of like cosmic vision or cosmic space, it's the idea that there are worlds and worlds and worlds beneath us and beneath the earth. And like you can actually go through the center of the earth and find these energies that are there and asking to come forward. And in the tendency to go up, we're misaligning in many ways. And it's important to also think about energies that are below us and going down in terms of like this balancing force, understanding that this is a realm of polarities, that lightness and dark, life and death are polarities, and to honor it as such. Many people are skyrocketing out in this astral projection sort of thing, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's asking for an awareness for a balance. As these energies, and they sometimes look like, to me right now, I'm just going to see how they show. It's like underground people, or like cave people, cave energies, cave earth beings that are asking to be acknowledged. So it's even that idea of like mushrooms are coming through. And so that idea of like this connecting energy of mushrooms, but like, where is it? It's in the ground, that's where, or up trees. That's where the mushrooms grow. That's where this connection is. And so while it can allow you to connect into other dimensions and other parts, and can be a beautiful source of healing. And I think that in the next 20, well, they say 20 years. So maybe while Pluto's in Aquarius, our relationship to psilocybins and to other substances is going to drastically change as our healthcare system changes, as we learn to connect in different ways. But understanding that while you may have experiences that make you feel like you're connected to other galactic things, there's still the deep power that they exist here under the ground in the earth. And that's really where that network exists. And it's important to remember that in order to have that balancing force. So I think what's coming forward is in these spaces and in these like healing quests or whatever you want to name them, the importance of grounding. And grounding in the sense, I know that we talk about like putting our feet on the earth or our soil or touching and things like that, but there's more to it. There's a deepening to that. It's not just to like be okay being a human. There's whatever you think is out and up is equally matched down and below. And so understanding that in that matching, you need to allow yourself, it's showing me the infinity loop, to be able to also embody going downwards sometimes.
What's interesting is that, can I share?
Please.
What I'm observing in the layers of the earth layers and then the ether and the sky layers, but as you go down into that center of the earth, that's actually the same as above. Like
Yeah.
it's the portal loop. It's a circle. So you think that when you get to the center of the earth, it just stops. Like there's the center, and then you have to, if you're going to go up into the ethers of the galactic, you have to go up into the sky. But when you get to the center, it's the portal to the sky.
Yeah.
So in a way, grounding is like grounding into the galactics. It's like or into the sky. Like you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing.
As
so
above, so below. That's the Virgo Pisces axis that I hold to. Is that
Yeah.
As above, so below.
So it's like, in a way, it can feel also very etherical to ground into the soil and earth because it's the same portal as if you were to go up. They say it's an illusion. Pam, you got anything to share? Or are you sitting in your energy?
There is, I'm being held in the energy of my below the surface self. There is an energy where, if it's an archetype or if it's an aspect of self, I don't really know, but there is like this version of me that like really knows that those underworld layers really, really deeply. And I got to know her even deeper like a week ago, and to even a new name and into like even this aspect of who she was, the archetype of her in the Greek gods and mythologies and that kind of aspect. So I just feel her energy really strong right now, and kind of just mirroring and kind of nodding and having like a little smile on her face of agreeing with just exactly what all these layers are, these layers underneath, and that it is an illusion, that there is a portal into the cosmos right in the center. And that reminds me of even going deep into my own cells. Like sometimes people go outwardly out of their body to reach their higher selves, and sometimes I will go inside and I go in my body so deeply. It's almost the same kind of idea where I'm actually will take my consciousness layer by layer by layer inside my own body until I reach, inside my cell, to inside an organelle, to inside a quantum particle, and I fall through that quantum particle and I'm back in the cosmos. So I went into the smallest particle in my physical form, and I fell into the expanse of the entirety of the universe. And it really reminds me of the same idea of this earth being that, like falling into the depths of this earth and moving into that core, and then coming back around to the cosmos of this beautiful cycle. And kind of coming into speaking through some energy on how much fear the collective holds about going below and what that means for people. And there's like this whole idea of what's down there, and to not look down there, and to not taste down there, and to not experience down there. And I'm curious of why that started, what was being hidden, perhaps. And as I'm tuning more into it, it is this mirror. There's so much high vibrational light in that center of the earth that is like crystalline in nature. It's got this beautiful energy that is so pure. And I'm just curious about how many structures of fear are alive in humanity about going south.
Well, they say, yeah, it's the true access. So I'm hearing that if we go upwards first rather than down and up, if you will, if we go upwards first, we can't go as high. We get stuck in some traffic. So it's like we can get pulled into a stream that's still good, it's still beneficial, but it's not the depth of which we can go. So they say it's great to do that as trial runs to get your feet wet, to learn to have a little bit more of a viewpoint or have access to that viewpoint. And then when you're ready, then it will naturally, they say, pull you down. And when you get pulled down and can link and go through, then there's it's more because your soul's just ready, like the truth is ready to be seen. There's less blocks of the fear, right? So there's actually they say that you've come into pure acceptance or permission to do that. But to start, you go up. And then they said when you go up, it's that the angelic realm will meet you further. When you just go up rather than down and up, when you just go up into the ether quick, the angelic realm takes you on that service. And they said, so you're observing, but you're not experiencing as much. When you go down into the earth and then you loop back up, you get this opportunity to experience it.
That feels so pure.
But they said that it's like we're just sometimes not ready to fully experience. So the angelic realm takes you, and that's that traffic that they're talking about. It's not bad traffic. They just said there's traffic that intercepts to help you view, but it's still just a viewing.
It's like having a guide first to kind of show you, introduce you, and tour you through, and hold your hand and kind of be that place. Versus when you're ready to go in and actually portal yourself.
Yeah, it's like traveling. You take a guide first, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to live here for a bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to live here for a month and, really then observe with my own experience. So I think going down is your own experience. So then I see that there's I like that you reference the cells because the soul really meets us at the cells, our DNA. And so I'm hearing that that's when you can fully unlock a lot of those layers and there's deep cellular healing.
Like a lot more, if you go in when you're ready, when you've done the tour with the guides and you want to go inside to meet the outside, then there's so much. I can feel the DNA opening up and clicking back together, like a lot of repairs, and therefore then holding more photon, holding more light. And the light is even changing. I was seeing it as like white light, but now I'm seeing like all spectrum.
It's a rainbow.
Yeah. Interesting. And just feeling in my own body like this, like my Shashimna, like that central channel in my body, just really wanting to move south, like really going there. And I'm getting a really loud pitch in my left ear right now of like feeling like I want to say the God below is the words coming through, which is obviously the same, but just like really again, kind of drawing my feet into that center.
And so they are also saying to me that there are some soul energies or energies that, it's interesting, I've never viewed it this way, but go to cross over. And, we think of them just, again, leaving up into the ether, but some of them go down and in and up. And they say that they are not stuck in there, but they sit in there to hold space, to observe, or to help others cross over that way. So I'm feeling that there's also a need, I think, Meredith, this is where you come in. There's a need to kind of clean that area up a little bit of where the souls are being pulled down, whether that's literally in an actual death cycle of the soul or if it's just something that they're dying off that they're trying to send back to their home space.
Well, there is in Cryon, who is an angelic entity that Lee Carroll channels. He, in one of Cryon's books, that he talks about the center of the planet being a crystalline core. And he talks about having that every soul that's on the planet Earth has a soul crystal in the center. And that you visit that crystal. You visit that crystal at birth and you visit that crystal at death. And you basically visit that aspect that has your own resonance. You get to visit what you've been, and you get to then visit when you leave, and you kind of upload your consciousness into the crystal so that the planet can hold the consciousness of what you've done in that lifetime, and then you come back through that. So I'm curious, when you said that, I was noticing that the souls are being kind of hanging around their crystal for too long.
Yeah, it's a traffic jam.
Yeah.
Immediately,
say-
I'm angry.
Yeah.
I'm angry that you said that.
Oh, that is too long?
No, I'm just like, that's wrong.
Ah,
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's not wrong, but there's something that I'm like, nope.
Well, but do you feel that there's maybe that you're picking up the energy of the souls that are down there that are angry?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so it's not that it's not true, but there's like a deep anger that's being held there. Because it's this idea of, and I'm going to use simple terms, but like one size doesn't fit all. So not everybody, like crystals represent dimensions, and crystals represent other galactic energies, and they're here to help all the different galactic energies be on this place to learn and to also commit to their contract of how to help Earth. And so somewhere along the way, it's like thinking that this one size fits for you when it is not true. Not everyone will be able to do that. Not everyone is going to go through, and by able to do that means it's like wrong hole for the key kind of thing, right? So there's different keys, there's different grids, there's different aspects, and that is what makes this place so special, is that it holds all of these different energies from all of these different places. And so being able to like embody what you feel is your truth or what feels right for you outside of what is glorified is really important right now. And so part of that fear layer you're talking about is that fear of being different, the fear of the shadow. Like your fear is a catalyst 100% to the truth sometimes. And so being able to go through your fear and recognizing that it might not be a crystal for you. And as I'm saying this, I'm helping guide people through to like, sometimes it's going to be magma. Sometimes it's going to be like the root. Sometimes you don't have to go down to the center in order to exit. Or to go through. There's all kinds of different energies at every different layer. And so picking your right one to allow, it's like if the earth had that Taurus energy you're talking about, right? Like allowing them to fit into the slot so that it can go through. Because each layer of that needs to be, there's not a hierarchy. It's just a spectrum. And so finding your correct spectrum to pop out above and below is really important. And at some point it got like drilled down to like, that this is the way it should be, almost like a highway. And the highway is helpful for some, but not all. And so we're just,
That's the traffic jam.
We're just clearing that out right now. And so the invitation is to, there's a lot of loneliness down there. There's a lot of these like colonies and energies that want to be honored. And it's in the silence and like the stripping of the earth and the stripping of the soil that we've lost that connection. So it's like, if you feel like, they're just showing me like the brown wizard from Lord of the Rings. Like if you feel like you're the brown wizard that wants to glorify bunny rabbits and mushrooms, like do that. You know, if you're the person that feels drawn to like a certain kind of rock, like honor that. It's not always the flashy, showy ones that allow for the balance here.
I'm also hearing that if someone deeply, deeply resonates with this information, that most likely either at nighttime or even during the day, their higher self is probably down there assisting. Like almost like a death doula of sorts, but you know, doing it very energetically. You might even be doing it very consciously, but there's a call for more placements for that. Would you say?
Yeah. And we're actually going to clear this consciousness that the idea of like going down is hell. Like there's this idea that like going down is hell and like it's for bad people and it's a punishment.
Burning hell.
And it's a sin and all of that. Like
that's the fear part that
like
people are thinking
liquid
of.
magma creation energy, like volcano is badass, right? That is like the clearing energy to create new stuff. It it exists in existential, like, psychology. Like, they're real because it's like this egregore belief. So energies exist because we believe in it, but it's not in the earth. It's outside of the earth. So
Chills.
stop being afraid to honor what is below you. It's bullshit.
Boom.
Thank you for letting me honor my anger. I feel better.
Good.
I was like, ugh. Maybe this is my crystal hate.
No, and it's interesting too, because that there is like Earth is a hub for so many star nations and so many different species and so many, that was the whole point. It's kind of like this place of like experiment and coming together. And so it makes so much sense that there is a spectrum of coming in, coming out, that there's portals all over the place, and everybody has a lock and key for their own
Entry, exit.
Yeah.
And I feel like the desire to clear the fence sitters. Like, there's this, I've always not liked the energy of fence sitters. So they're like the looky-loos, the ones that are wondering, almost like the scavengers. And it's like a call to like clarify your intention of what's your intention with dating my daughter, right? Like, what's your intention of being here, right? What's your intention for Gaia or for the earth? Like, why? Go ahead.
I just heard Mother Earth go, shit, or get off the pot.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And I'm
It's
feeling
true.
a lot
Like,
of
do you want to
Egypt
vibe
energy
with
right
like,
now.
What's that?
And I'm feeling like that there's like a strong entry portal at like Egypt. I'm noticing like Gaia going, can you do something like with that? Can you clean up that? Like, if somebody
I
wants
see
to
that.
come down, there's like a huge highway of things coming in that are great. Maybe things coming in that Gaia, she's not loving. And so there's like a little bit of like asking for support on that.
Yeah, I think it's because when I see that portal in Egypt. So, and they've again more traffic jam because they've said that some of the other portals are closed.
Yeah, so that's a really highway used one.
Yeah.
And it's getting to be a little much like the India roads of cars, the traffic jams with the tuk-tuks and the things and the cows and the carts and everything is getting a little much.
and it's a misrepresentation of the earth as whole.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many portals here. There's so many entry points that are ancient and some new, and like allowing that evolution is important, right? That's this time immemorial story of time and space, of how this evolves here, is that we allow things to birth and we allow things to die. And allowing it to spread, allowing it to honor, allowing to like do your work where you're at, like not outside of yourself, do your work where you're at, is how we're going to access and balance that out, right? There's energies and portals, if you want to call them, and access points all over the earth and the oceans. And so it's not necessarily, it's like this whole idea of like seeking outside of yourself. If you're seeking outside of yourself because you're called somewhere, because your heart pulls you somewhere, yes, there's probably something there. But if you're not feeling called, it's not that it's not available to you. It's just that there's something to do, or maybe consider right where you're at. There's magic everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm feeling into all the portals that are on the earth.
Sorry, keep going.
No, and some of them are just they're there, but they're not open.
Yeah.
And then I can feel kind of Gaia saying, okay, she's gonna like open up a few more to bring more like roads in the picture.
They're new ones.
Yeah.
They had to close.
Yeah, okay.
They're done.
Okay.
So because I keep going into them and I'm like, how can we help you? How
Yeah.
can we reopen these up to lessen the traffic? And they're like, no, they closed with this last
see.
era. So I think there's new ones coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm almost feeling like in our human time, we look at it as like 6 months, but it's not like going to be that long. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's quick. They say it's all new ones coming.
They open with intention.
Mm-hmm.
They open with authenticity. They open with heart energy, right? Where are you? It's like a frequency thing. So if you're aligning this whole idea of like, what are you doing? What's your intention with like, that is like, why are you here? Why do you want to come to earth? Why do you want to enter here? Are you here to help like heal? Are you here to help connect? Are you here to help like sit in your heart and allow this like more connected way of being? Or are you just here to rape, pillage, and take? Like that sort of thing. That's going to lock that down, because and it's not like it lacks integrity. It's just an evolution. And this is the planet. Like, we are in evolution. This is from the beginning of time. this planet has been about evolution. It's why time and space exists in this dimension. And so honoring it. And it kind of comes into this idea, I say this quite a bit, it comes through, it's like it's chaos to those who do not understand they are in the hands of a master, right? Evolution is a master, and Gaia will fix it. And she understands that, and she knows that. So honoring that as you're doing your work, as you're doing your energy stuff is really important for aligning with how this energy actually works here.
And I'm hearing it's like the mirrored reflection. So if it's reopening up top, that center of the earth in that reflection of where it's going to pinpoint right onto Gaia, it's also creating an opening down there. They both need to be open at the same time. Mm-hmm. So because there was some of that traffic jam or the viewpoint or what we're looking at the center of the earth, it's like those upper portals were saying we couldn't open. We kind of have to wait till those ones finish up and exit because the top portal's gone. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If we think of an entrance and an exit that is polarizing or mirrors each other just in direction. So yeah, if they weren't exiting out.
It's like I can see like the center of the planet kind of
rotating a bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like rotating a bit and trying to find and click and like
the lock and key.
The lock and key into the top portals. And so I can feel that movement happening as we're speaking of like finding that connection. So that's really interesting. And I'm feeling like there is that intention piece on that big portal over the Middle East and Egypt, that it is like all of a sudden the ones that are coming through to rape and pillage are all of a sudden starting to not be able to land. Like they're kind of getting like this repelling like against the magnets kind of energy, like where they're kind of bouncing out and kind of flying back up. So that's really just an interesting observation.
Reevaluation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
so that's exciting. This is exciting.
It is also a little bit of like, I'm hearing the Galactic Federation. It's sort of like they'll take that because they like to map it. They watch it very closely, they said. So they like to map it. And so then they reevaluate to work with where those portal access points are allowed. Kind of like you said, Meredith, with great intention of also what humanity is open and allowing. And when there's deep opening, and they said there's so many pockets.
I can see them.
There are so many pockets still of deep intention. Yeah, they in frequency, they change a lot. So then they pivot their entry and their exit.
And I'm feeling the ask as well right now for understanding that it's not just humanity, it's all the creatures and species that live here, the sentience of all, right? So like horse nation, bears, cougars, eagle, our avian, our trees, our plants, aquatics. Your aquatics, all of this, it's like this, it's this bring back to awareness that it's not just about us humans, it's about all the things. And so all of it has to agree. And they're all going through that. I feel like the next one is intuition, because like to bring this back to earth, how do we access this in our daily lives? What does this look like? How do you know when it's a yes? How do you know where your intention is? Because I know it's a feeling for me, like it's literally cloaking me right now. Maybe you can speak to that.
Because I sat here when you guys entered channel, because you could feel that you were entering the channel. I don't feel it. I'm like, no, I'll just observe it. No big deal. I don't have anything coming in. And then it's like, as soon as you guys have created a field and that's the agenda, then I just start to see it and then I can hear it. So for me, like we talked about in a previous episode where through my right ear, it's like a different type of voice that I hear inside myself. That just gives me information. I don't know how else to describe it. But it's like, as we were talking, describing the layers and the portals, I have a complete vision. So sometimes I'm just sitting here and I'm like, oh, I can see what you're talking about. And then I'm also seeing a different layer of information that now I can add to the story that you're picking up on. And also look at this and this and this. And, but yeah, I would say my felt sense would be my least directive. I'd get the claircognizant, which is just like a clear knowing. My visual comes online. I can do it with my eyes open where I just can see it. And then I get the hearing, which is really strong. And and then they'll say, oh, we've got our attention. They just said to me, so let's funnel in this and this. Can we add this in? Oh, she's finally listening. It's like all of a sudden I entered into my portal of alignment or my channel without how you guys wear it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it's like sometimes I don't even feel like I just feel like I'm just normal, but it's this other layer and it just sucks me in completely with information. And I've learned to stop questioning it a long time ago. I remember I was taking a meditation course and she looked at me again, I was really young. I was like 22. And she looked at me and she's like, because I would be like, I think this is what I'm seeing. She's like, Deanne, when are you going to stop questioning yourself? And I kind of was like, well, that's rude, like rude, but she wasn't being rude. She was like serious. And I remember when I started my business, my practice, and I was working with clients, I'm like, I have to just commit to the information. I'm going to do everybody a disservice if I'm like, maybe. And if there's something that I truly don't know, I will question it and say, maybe, I don't know. But in my mind, I was like, this was what came up, balls to the wall. Like, you get intuitive information, you're in a channel, this is what you see, that is your truth, you go for it. And it's helpful that I work with clients on a day-to-day basis where they can, my ego, I guess, they can, tell me that it's correct, that the information, right? So then you're like, okay, it is, right? So overworking with clients, I've learned to understand that the information is accurate. And so I just don't question it anymore. Mm-hmm. Pam?
Really similar.
Yeah.
Like really similar. I think because our backgrounds are really similar too, mm-hmm. in our even our training for self-sense awareness and stuff. But it is the trust part for sure, like not second guessing that part. But of course there is the work that happens that we've all done really deeply to kind of clear the energy of blocks and filters and belief systems that the subtle world doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And so all of that work totally helps, like to do, not just to be like, oh, how do I do this, but do the work, like do the work to clear the belief systems, however that looks for you, if it's breath work or coming for sessions or kind of stepping through and finding your own kind of idea in the world, if that makes sense. And not just what you were conditioned with as your parents saying that doesn't exist. So I think for me, I had to like even think back to childhood and how open my senses were and have to kind of step over the times where if it is a memory of an adult saying, oh, no, there's nothing in your room, or there's nothing mm-hmm. like that, going, no, that just because they said that doesn't mean it's true. Just coming back into my own inner trust mm-hmm. of like, what does my body say? Mm-hmm. Where do I get like, where does like, what's true in my system? Like if I feel that like that uplift in my body, that opening, that kind of like hit in the gut of truth, that is my truth and somebody else can't make it wrong because they don't feel it or see it or they're not open that way. So the same thing mm-hmm. And the universe is funny that way, where if you don't trust it, it'll kind of keep playing with you and kind of making like kind of going, okay, well, if you don't trust me, I'm going to just kind of like fuck with you basically. Mm-hmm. But when you lean into that trust and you just go with that first, like that response, that first gut response without your mental body getting in the way, and you see that in action, you get enough confirmation after doing it for so many years, you're like, whoa, that was true. That did come into fruition. That was something that my client, that came into reality, basically, mm-hmm. what you were feeling into. And enough of that, then you start to just blindly trust fully. Mm-hmm. And I've played that game with my own life of just now responding with my, like more my gut, like in my sacrum and like inner feeling of yes or no for any mm-hmm. action that I do in my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm playing with my own life. If I just move in direction of my life with that strong resonance of yes that I recognize in my own body, if I just respond to that in life, what is my life creating? What am I manifesting? And I'm seeing so much magic that me being an active practice with my life is my confirmation for my clients. I know mm-hmm. it works because I'm practicing it mm-hmm. And seeing the results in mm-hmm. my own life mm-hmm. versus what responding through like the mental clutter of my mind and making decisions from there. I see the difference of that and the difference of the resonance of my inner yes or no. And my life creation is completely different mm-hmm. between and way more fruitful when I just listen to that first gut response.
Like that you said, that life experience.
Yeah.
You can think all this think you believe in it. And I lived a lot of my life that when I was opening to this that way. And then all of a sudden I started having experiences of it, like deep experiences. And I've always like channeled the spirit babies. But then when I started to channel Merlin, I started having deep, like my own life changed. And I was having an experiential part in that story now. And I remember looking at Keith and I'm like, I'm no longer the same. Like it just was. So it was, and I love that I had the felt sense and I could see it in my own life. And that was another layer. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. And then for me now, it's like, I can't do it any other way now.
I know you can't go back.
You can't go back.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't go back.
Yeah.
But why would you?
And it's the trust too, because even though I'm living a life in that way of just gut response into inspired action, there always is that piece of like the trust of the universe to hold you in the unknown, because the mental body creates an illusion of it, something known, but we don't actually know. And then when we're actually in response of just the gut response, you're like, whoa, life becomes this like unfolding mystery. Every day you get to meet something new and it all just kind of meets you. And I find that can be very fearful for a lot of people and challenging. And it is for me too, like depending on what I'm working through. And I still go ahead and move with a gut response, even if I'm afraid of that choice.
Yeah.
Because it's because of the life experience. I know that when I move through that, even though I'm afraid, I always am taken care of. And when you trust the being taken care of part, and you just surrender into the flow of that, then life actually, for the majority of the part, is really, the unknown becomes so adventurous and playful and fun, and it feels like every day becomes a present.
Yeah.
Like it is the presence of presence, you know what I mean? And versus just kind of predicting your life as you're moving through your days. So I find it really exciting. Anything for you?
I would just, iterating for sure. Iterating what you have both shared is like the proof is in the pudding, because rationally, so much of this would not make any sense.
Yeah.
Right? Saying that, like, I can feel the indigenous nations walk in front of the window on the regular basis, or that I feel the stories in the rocks, or that the trees share deep, intimate knowledge with me, does not make rational sense at all. And so my mind would always question and judge that. But when I allow that to be true, and I allow that to move through my body, my life changes in ways that feel so much more heart-centered, and my head is open and noisy and my heart is so knowing. And it's not that I have anything against my mind. It's beautiful, it's open, it allows me to have all these different concepts and ideas and integrate all of these wild concepts, but it's that heart knowing and that sacral response to being like, but I'm more present in my life now than I have ever been. And so how can this not be true, right? How can this not be real if my literal lived life before it was almost unbearable in the thought patterns, in the cruelty of my own mind, in my absence of presence in my relationships. And now as I say yes to this more and allow this more, I'm here more than I have ever been. And so how can that not be true? How can that not be helpful? How can that not be something that I respond to, or that I continue to fuel into? And I think that's the difference too, when we see sometimes people in like spiritual spaces or things, they tend to bypass, right? This like maybe this layered darkness or this shadow or this fear. And if you shoot up right away and you're not, you start to, I just feel like I want to call this out for some reason right now, of all of a sudden, like you're less present in your life. You're not with the ones that you love. You're avoiding a lot of these harder, darker, not even darker, just discomfort, right? This intense discomfort. And you will be guided in a loving way to the discomfort that you're supposed to go to. It's not really about all of it all at once. It's the lessons will just begin to unfold. Like I spoke earlier in a previous episode about sexual trauma, that is a long journey that slowly starts to unfold when you begin to work through your discomfort. And that's the life, that's the living part. But allowing yourself to be present in that, rather than being like, it's a contract that you just agreed to, or like some of these words that we hear that I think are really damaging, because I always liken it to, I look at someone and they're not here. They're like, it's just the way the universe, like they start to switch stuff and wording to actually not be present. And their life is actually becoming damaged and they're not present in that. And I would say that that's like, it's not a judgment, but it's an invitation to come back to what is actually uncomfortable, to find the places and the spaces that can help you begin to work through that stuff, the practices that help you, the people that support you in a real way. Because when you can go into that, then it's going to be even deeper. It's going to be more that lived. Yes, it's not out there, it's right here and in the now. And there's a million reasons why the here and now can be hard for people and can be challenging, and I would never want to diminish that. But that is where the true like presence ends up being, right?
Yeah. The authenticity.
Yeah.
And then I'm hearing that's when you can sink into that the experience of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me, I can identify probably a bit with that. When I first, was dabbling this, I was always, like, I think I went up so fast as a young kid. But really honing in, hasn't been deeply for a long time. Like it's, maybe the last 4 or 5 years where it was all of a sudden, what does all this look like? What does that deep pain or not just all the good things about spirituality and the ego of a spirituality, but also the gift in the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then embracing it and seeing it. And it's all come in layers, right? It's not like I saw it all overnight either. My own stuff.
Yeah.
Just discovered something new last fall, right? Like it's all there at the taking. But that's the excitement part, I think, Pam's talking about, is that even, when she talks, it's, what that day is going to give you in excitement can also be discomfort.
Most frequently in the beginning. Deep discomfort.
Yeah.
I used to use that. I was like, where in my life am I the most uncomfortable? And like I mentioned earlier, I just came into my physical body like a year ago, and I'm 41. So it took 40 years of life to be able to start to come in. I'm not fully in it yet, but that was the area of my deepest discomfort. The area that scared me the most was looking at my physical body, looking at the beliefs around my physical body, looking at the trauma that this body held, looking at what it meant to have intuitive gifts in a world that tells me that maybe they're not real, right? Facing those experiences. They were the areas of the deepest discomfort. And so by starting to say yes, though, then I found that I lie in the ditch. I lie in the ditch and I cry. I do whatever. Like, it's not pretty. It's not glamorous. Like, I'm not like Instagramming it. That's for sure. Maybe I should, but like, it's not attractive. It doesn't look cute, but that's life, and life is that side of that. And, it's not always that. And then my next work gets to be like accepting the joy, accepting the grief and honoring joy just as much as this other thing, like both sides of that spectrum. But your discomfort is your gateway and like your direct path into where you're supposed to follow, right? And discomfort can also be with holding joy. Discomfort can be with holding happiness. Discomfort can be allowing yourself to be loved. It's not just looking at your trauma, it's the whole thing. And so where is your discomfort? Where do you not want to look? And that probably holds the most like fertile soil for your development.
Can I ask you guys, from a human perspective, what part of being human is the most discomforting for you guys? Which part of it?
The fact that I don't like people.
The human part
The
of
human part of humaning. No, I'm kidding. I think the hardest part for me is seeing people in so much pain and in so much darkness, and by darkness I mean disconnection, and just like a willingness to like hurt or not be kind, like that, just maybe like a string of cruelty out of like disconnection is the hardest part, because there's so much beauty here. There's so much magic. There's so much to be had here. And so not being willing to see that or entertain that, I think, is probably one of the hardest parts for me.
Yep. So more from it's like a global, like a seeing it from a global view.
Global view, but I see it in my everyday life.
Yeah.
You know, I work in the hospital,
Yeah.
seeing people bedbound because of chronic disease, or like they're and I mean, that's part, like I could say that's all part of it, and I'm not like judging that, but that's the hardest part for me, is seeing people in pain and them not believing that there's a way out, or that there's something in there for them, and that they're just resigned to that this is what life is.
Yeah, for me, so that's for that global, I mirror that, but for me, from like my own inside, like human perspective of uncomfortability, there's a part of me that I love being like, I love alone time. I love having that time of just like, I think that's really important. That's a different kind of healthy thing that I can feel, but I also feel like those pockets of like just the human loneliness. And that's, I think, my most uncomfortable part, where that even in the need of sometimes having that alone time, but maybe just, that's not really alone time. It's just more like the loneliness of, talked about in a different episode about partnerships and finding that energy of like that missing piece in my life. And so that's really, because a lot of things I've been uncomfortable with, I've been able to like be really uncomfortable and move through. But this is the loneliness one is like the most lingering, most long-standing, hasn't really changed at all yet. The one that kind of is deeply just like always there, kind of like this like thing on my back, and that just feels really heavy and uncomfortable. So that's for me is like the most human, uncomfortable part of just like, just wanting more human connection, you know, and like in a way of intimacy. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Oh, we got some hand holding.
Yeah.
For those that aren't visually online. Yeah, you know, I would have to say it's the frequent imbalances in my physical body too, where one day I feel like this, the next day I'm like this, like I'm like all over. And it's so interesting because my health history background involves a lot of vertigo and dizziness, so imbalance. And I would say those are the most uncomfortable, without a doubt, the most uncomfortable moments, like lonely, like it's like funny how we all have these things. It's like those, yeah, I'll deal with that. And so it's the constantly unknowing of how I'm going to feel the next day, or what's going to happen the next day. It can be deeply exciting. There's parts of it that are deeply exciting, but it's also this ongoing guessing game. Right? Where you have, okay, I got to fucking tune in. Okay, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? It feels like there's always something that's shifting or moving. And granted, I'm moving through all those things a lot easier and possibly faster. But I think it's just that it's almost a little bit whiplashing, right? Because it's like constant. And then it leaves me sometimes feeling like, okay, I had it down. Now I don't anymore. Oh my God, now I'm just like kind of keeping afloat a bit. So I would say it's just feeling that imbalance. What the equilibrium is literally always in flow, in motion, and I'm like not riding with it all the time. So I'm like, oh my God, I thought I had it down and now it's changed again.
Do you, going back to the first part of this podcast, do you go down into the core? Have you done the descent? Because I feel like that could be really.
I have.
I was like, I'm gonna fix you.
Yeah, right.
I have.
It's a future session.
It's funny because on one of my
You're like, why are you just
why just go down? Because I'm balancing down there.
So one of my programs, I do like a series of Spirit Baby programs, like meditations, and I created one that was for the center of the earth. And it's program number 6.
Have you taken your own program?
Yeah.
Did you though?
I did. I had to fucking read it over and over and over, and I recorded it. Like,
did you feel it?
I did feel it.
Did you go through?
I was burping.
Did you just go in? Did you go right through it?
I didn't go through it because then wouldn't I be transitioning? No, I wouldn't. Maybe I need to go through
What
and
is happening?
go through my portal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finish
Because
that
I've
loop,
gone
honey.
down. and
Finish the loop.
I know. So maybe
That's
it's
like
like
being in the cell and not
getting
finding the
comfortable,
quantum.
getting comfortable in my loop-de-loop.
You're just being like, you're just
You
trying to be
got
like,
to the
you know,
door
like
and didn't walk through it.
Yeah, the water, like right before it drains, it's all whirly.
So-
That's you. You're just like around the sink.
But no, that's pretty much it. And then somebody fucking puts a
Fucking go through the drain, D.
somebody puts a plug on it. Okay, but would this count though? Because like when I go,
No, immediately no. The answer is already no.
No, okay. When I go into my meditation, though, I go in through the water, and lately I've been going into the portals of the ocean floor ground.
No, that's
But
not-
isn't that the same thing?
No.
It's Earth. It's the
Because
portals
have
of the
you-
Earth, but just through the fucking ocean. That's the same
But
thing.
are you like exiting out the other side?
No, because then I go in. It's like it doesn't let me.
Or you don't let yourself?
Yeah, I know. I know, guys. I
you
know it doesn't let me.
addicted to the lack of
And then so
equilibrium?
the other night it kind of did, and I
the room.
popped out somewhere else, but it was like, I don't know. I was
Do it
kind of
right now.
bored.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah, I was like, why are you pretending?
Let's
You
do it
can't
right
do
now.
this.
Do we have time?
Yes,
though?
we've got 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Should we? Do we have
Yes.
time? Are you sure?
We can take an extra 5. It's fine.
I'm just gonna.
I love this.
I'm gonna help you.
Okay. Should I close my eyes? Okay, we're doing it quick.
The ocean floor has many mountain ridges.
My coffee. Give me
Yeah,
back the coffee.
I can feel the safety
Okay.
behind this. I'm taking it
Okay,
away.
Sorry,
This
Meredith.
is what it's like to
Okay.
hear the water before it goes down the drain. This energy that Dee's bringing. Okay, there are ridges and mountains in the bottom of the ocean floor. It's like you're trying to go through the sand, right? But I would like you to ground into something bigger. Remember, as above the water, so below the water, right? Find that concrete, hard place that feels like you can stabilize into.
Okay. They're just holding I'm still in water, but it's almost like it's a concrete circle with it's got a little bit of a chain on it. So I'm just holding the chain and putting my feet on the ground.
Okay.
I'm
And
in
I just
human
want to
form.
remind you that all elements that are, it's like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, right? Oxygen, hydrogen, water. They are actually stabilizing. They exist outside of water as well. So if you want to leverage that to make yourself feel better. Dee has a long history of water energy. So she's especially attuned to that sort of vibration.
Is the chain? Is it like literally? I'm seeing the
like
stopper for the sink.
Yeah,
Yes,
Like,
it's
are you
what
going
it
to pull
is.
it?
Yeah. So weirdly, when I took I pulled open the lid, the ocean started to drain. I was like, we can't drain the ocean.
Okay.
So I closed
What
it.
ocean are you draining?
I don't.
What ocean are you draining? It's not Earth. Earth's good.
No, it's like the Mintakan stuff.
Okay. So can you actually drain water? Or is it asking for its own rebirth? Birth? Can you rebirth yourself?
It's like the water breaking.
So this is so weird. I opened up the Mintaka drain, and when I exited out, so it feels like, so for those that don't know, something I surfaced was a trauma of being in a little bit of captivity in Mintaka energy, which is off Earth. It's a galactic past remembering. And so I think I was more or less in something of that nature. When I came out, though, what's interesting is it birthed me down a portal back onto Earth. So I actually birthed myself onto Earth for the first time.
Hello, you'd be a lot more balanced.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah, I just came, it was like a funnel then down into portal to Earth. So I came from this, we were talking about the access of portals earlier from the sky and then going down into the earth and whole of the earth or the center of the earth linking back up to the sky. I came from the sky down.
That's okay.
So so now I'm on Earth.
What does
Okay.
it feel like to be on Earth right now? In that
New.
perspective? Okay. What does your feet feel like? Does it feel like they're landing on the planet, or does it feel kind of bouncy?
It feels like I have flippers
Yeah.
for feet. So my feet, and I take Pilates and I always struggle with footwork.
Yeah.
My feet don't want to, and she's like, your feet don't anchor here. And I'm like, I know. So it's just trying to alchemize.
I want to say you won't forget by grounding here.
Yeah.
It's like you hold some like memory in your feet, but I want you to know that that knowledge cannot be lost, that it's okay.
And you can have human feet.
Yeah, I alchemized. Like I saw it kind of alchemize into the human body. And then it's like, and it was that, Meredith, what you said, where I saw my body that I was so familiar with prior is just a beautiful stored memory for later.
Yeah, I can see that the body of before is in your DNA. It's so there. And then it's safe to actually be in your full physical human form now because you're not losing your old self at all. I'm just noticing, like, if you can imagine your feet being human on the ground, barefoot, can you notice if you can, like, have some intention of growing some roots?
Not seaweed roots.
No.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's like these
Earth
kelp
roots.
in the ocean.
Yeah. Land roots.
Okay, here we go.
The tree energies can help you
I
too.
wasn't here. I wasn't here in Vernon, so I had to just shift that contract a little bit. That where I saw myself land can be a potential, but it's not where I am right now. I need to be here.
Yeah.
So I just then recalled. So I had to just jump a little bit. So now I'm here in my front yard. There. And then I'm just connecting deep into the. Now my soul just dropped to the center.
Yeah, I can feel your ears wanting to balance with this too.
The pressure, yeah.
Even just like the bones, and it's just feeling like, okay, here's some equilibrium. As above, so below. I can feel that really moving through your solar plexus and the theme of human identity, with a lot of joy coming through there of like taking this human form, being here.
I can feel opening up into the possibility of what life can look like, allowing yourself to embody this, where there was a lot of grief and fear before. It's just, and it's, even if it's not now, it's opening up into the possibility of a much more peaceful, stable, balanced life here in this lifetime.
Like huge in the heart and your third eye. And I'm also hearing that you were talking before about not being in like a very subtle sense aware, but not as much physical sense aware. And this is going to be some of that of being here and now being actually more in the physical senses.
It's giving yourself permission to also be here in this life without holding so many parts of you elsewhere in watery stuff. It's just, can you give yourself permission to have this experience?
Yes.
And that watery of kind of letting that piece go, not go, but like be, you know what I mean, more embodied in the human cells. I feel your lymphatic system actually wanting to really drain, like let go of the water you've been holding on to. And the extra water, just from being like, I'm in the ocean all the time.
Waterlogged.
Yeah, just because of like that almost the not wanting to let go of it. And so there is a clearing in the lymphatics too. Yeah, we're just going to bring that into your spleen.
Also knowing as Dee's doing this and Pam's kind of guiding this, if it's resonating with you, it's also helping you as a listener, right? These sort of sessions or healing are always for more than just, as an observer or a listener, it's a powerful invitation as well to opening up and allowing something to maybe balance more in you as well.
And the spleen energy is linking right into the lymph nodes in the groin area, and you're draining out through your legs, and it's kind of this more energy of it's like the water of the body wants to be, it's going to nourish your roots that you've just grown. Is you're watering your own roots with the waters of your old life.
And they are welcome here.
Yeah.
That energy that you're infusing, your wisdom, your knowing that you're bringing from this is welcome here.
Yeah, because they tell me that a lot of aquatic beings here on Earth, but all we don't ground through our feet. Right? Even the tail, it doesn't ground through the tail.
So I'm like asking right now as they're just showing me a picture of that first fish that came out of water and began to walk, right? So can you leverage that knowing of understanding that there are some creatures that used to be water creatures that are now land creatures, or it can be amphibious, right? Allowing yourself to expand into both possibilities. Arguably, some of the creatures that have lived in this planet the longest
Yes.
have been amphibious or are amphibious, right? What up, crocodile?
What up? That was beautiful. How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready for sleep.
There's a lot of swirling even like in through your like pelvis, like second chakra is having a big activation right now.
I struggle with my sacral chakra, my hormones, like balancing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it feels really like helpful right now. There's like a lot of energy of just earth supporting you and
There.
Like, yeah.
Well, I'm really just like a suck from like solar plexus down, right? The solar plexus, like that's probably those are the human feelings, and and I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm all the way up here, right?
But it's also because like that energy before of like not actually pulling the drain and going south.
Yeah.
And it's the south chakras on you that we've known for a long time that always have the most struggle.
Yeah.
So I think this is really good. Yeah.
Thank you,
Amazing.
ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for being willing.
We just had to birth the cycle.
Yeah.
Deanne needed to birth herself. That's why I hold the
D.
birth. Classic D. Well, like I said, I think it was like the first episode. I think I'm in the birth archetype because I'm probably the one that struggles to birth myself the most.
Well, there it is.
There it is, people. Yeah.
Thanks for listening and watching.
Thank you, everybody, for holding space.
What a beautiful episode.
Yeah, tapping
that was
into
fun.
your heart, tapping in, tapping in any information that resonates, leaving that which does not.
Yeah.
And thank you for being a part of this and bearing witness to this modality of healing and connection that can look exactly how it's meant to look.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's feeling a lot of energy right now, listening or watching this episode, just after you're done, I just encourage that you take a few minutes of deep breathing for yourself. It just feels really important. Just even 10 minutes of just long, deep breaths through your nose, in and out.
And nature will support that too. If you can do it outside.
Maybe
we can just do
finding the feet.
3 breaths right now
Okay.
to close to help go as well. If anybody, just to the nose and out through the mouth. Just allowing yourself to close anything that's been open. Retaining the wisdom.
And gratitude for all the ones that came and helped.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks to the below folk.
We see you, we honor you, and we bless you.
And so it is.
And so it
And
is.
so it is.
Thanks for listening.
Thank
This has been
you.
another episode of The 3 Fates.
Yeah.